Hello, citizen developers. In this lesson, let's learn about how to manage work using a workflow. You understand what is a workflow right now, right? So anything, could be designed, any business process or any work that is being done, let's say, in a business, can be, presented or modeled using a workflow, right? I have a lot of workflows here, for example. Now, generally speaking, workflow systems, right, could be independent of the business system itself or could be integrated, right? Meaning that you would actually, look at your tasks and do your work in a different system, right? And then come back and mark the task completed, for example, right? Just like we do it here. But then in MyBiz workflow, what it does is that it's just not a workflow system. It's a workflow-based system, meaning that you could create a business process and model all your policies, right, in the organization, right? And use the workflow for that, right? So say, for example, let's choose another process here. Let's choose this guy, right? So yeah. So say, for example, if you see, right, all these steps in the workflow, for example, right? And if you see in each of these, there is this fields. See, these fields, what are these fields for, right? These fields are what makes this system a workflow-based system to create business processes, which means you're collecting the data, for example, right? So we did, I showed you this no-code features before. So you could design any business process, any workflow using this system. It's a workflow-based system, meaning workflow is part of it, right? And at the same time, you could use it to kind of, model your business processes. That's the idea, right? Now, it could also be a record. I think I have not showed you that yet. Say, for example, if you go here in this setup, a record is a record of data. We're not talking about workflows here. You could still have a workflow that would be used to fill data in the record, but let's go here. For example, if I go here, let's choose this guy, edit process definition, right? Now, it's a top level workflow or a child workflow, right? But then no estimation module is what we have. Let me, yeah, so that could be removed, right? So the estimation module that we have, that would actually be used, generally speaking, right, in workflows. Records don't have to, have that, for example, right? There's one way of doing it. There could be other ways of doing it as well. And, we will incorporate that. Now, right now, in the present system, if you do not have, say, for example, right, the tasks as you complete, they'll be marked completed and they'll disappear from you. It'll be clean here. But the process itself, say, for example, that also, say, let me see some completed process over here, right? Go here and see if I have something coming over. There's nothing in the project, but I think I'm sure we have some. Let's see, I think maybe this guy has something. But anyway, so the idea is that in a workflow, both the tasks and the processes would actually be, will not stay in your dashboard. They'll go to a dashboard which is showing you completed processes and completed tasks. If you go to the tasks over here, for example, this is the completed ones, right? Um, but a record, right, does not have to disappear. Record is a record of data. You want to store it, right? So that's the difference. In a record, though there is a workflow that is, ensuring that you fill in data and take care of it, for example, and then mark it done. From the task, it will disappear, of course, right? But process itself, right, will be set up in such a way that there is no terminal step. What is a terminal step? Let's go, let me show you. Setup, go here and go to roles and custom status, right? So here, if you pick a process and look at these types, when we add here, right, let's say, for example, the closed one or, or maybe completed one of them would be set up with this checkbox, calling it terminal status, which means the whole idea or the whole job of this is of this terminal status is once you mark that status, the process is, for example, the process, whichever the process is, once it is marked completed, it would come to the completed processes, recently completed over here. And if you go to the work in progress, for example, and pick it, it will, this is, all your projects, for example, right? But then once you're done with it, it's gonna go away. But a record stays here. That's the whole idea. The record does not clear because this is record of data, right? But if it is a record is very old, for example, you could always make it inactive, right? The way to make it inactive is the same thing that you do for a workflow. For example, you just add a terminal status, call it inactive, right? When you mark it inactive, it's gonna disappear from you if you want to do that. Or you can just keep it, right? Regardless. So one sec here. So how do we manage work, right? So you saw that already, right? So the task, right, is assigned over here. It comes here. So you work on that task, right? You mark it completed and it goes to the next person, right? Or the next step, right? It goes to the person who is assigned as the task performer for the next task in that workflow. Say, for example, here we talked about that before, but I'm gonna just touch on it again. This one, right, is if you see the status, it's assigned, which means it's assigned to you, so you can start working on it, right? But then this is the step number one. If you go to step number two, it's not going to be assigned. It's going to be not assigned because, right, that means you don't have to work. You're not required to work on it in a workflow, right? Because step one has to complete before the step two, starts working on it. For example, if I mark number one complete, for example, here I go here, do what I will do, and let's say I think the terminal status here is probably project launched, right? Again, you have to add a lot of things here. Data, for example, I'll not add it, right? Let's call this, we just use some name, right? Let's say build and to do whatever. Okay. So let's save this guy, right? So now, since this is done now, mark done now, right? The next step now, the status here is assigned now. See that? It was not assigned before, now it became assigned, so you could work on it. It does not mean that you don't have to work on different kind of tasks. Say, for example, you have some kind of parallel, let's say work required. You want people to be doing different tasks. They could still do it. They could still go and change status from, let's say, not assigned to, let's say, in planning. You can do that. It's not that you can't do that, right? So, but then a lot of times workflows kind of, follow a sequential order and it lets you do, right? You could do otherwise as well. You could do it other way as well, right? But the whole idea is that once all of these are marked completed, say, right? All of these steps are marked completed, then the status of the process itself, the process is the project, right? The status of the process itself will be marked completed by the system. So you don't have to go and mark it by yourself, right? Say, for example, these are all open policies, for example, right? And let's look at some of the closed ones, right? So now you see nothing. Okay, we didn't find anything here. Let's find something that has, or maybe let's just go and, let's make that show how it works, right? So let's say a project, right? Let's take this guy. So let's mark all of them completed, for example. I mean, if you see this process here, there's a business requirement, project plan, value design, deployment, deploy production, wrap up, whatever, right? So let's say this was completed already. Now this is assigned. We'll mark it requirements completed. Now go to the next one. And here, this is in planning now. We'll mark it completed also. Now this guy becomes assigned. So we'll say design complete, save it. And we go here, now it get assigned, right? It's changing to not assigned to assigned, right? And review complete accepted, iteration progress. Now it is set up in a different way here. But in any case, let's find out what is this um, uh, terminal status. Could be accepted, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Uh, this is the 5, right? Agent developer. Let's see this guy. What it's doing here, for example. Okay, got a timer. Okay, so here, let's see. Deployment completed. And this is what, 6. Okay, let's mark this guy also completed in production and wrap up. I hope all of them are set up as I'm thinking. Complete, save, close. So let's see here, right? So we mark a lot of them as completed for 1380. I think that's the one, right? Let's go with that, T30. Yeah, T29, T30, yeah, that's the one. So 1380, right? Remember this ID, 1380. It's a project, right? For some reason, I put it in the HR team. It should really be IT team, whatever. But anyway, so 1380. Let's look if it is coming here. 13, maybe we missed something. I think we missed something. So let's go here. I think one of the status somewhere. Let's go here and see to do. Is there any task remaining for this 1380? Yeah, there are two which are not terminal statuses, for example, right? This guy is not terminal. So what is the terminal status for this one? Deployment complete is not set up as the, okay, I think there's an issue with this setup here because that has to be set up as um, the terminal status. That setup is over here. That setup is over here. Project, like deploy, status types. Now deployment complete will do one thing. We'll delete this guy and add again same thing. Right? So you have to check this box. If it is not, then it's not gonna save and close. So now it will do it going forward for new processes. Um, and even the other one, I think this guy, yeah, let's see here now, deployment complete. It was 1380. Um, see. So what is this step here? 6. This is the deployment complete. Okay, let's say we are at this now, right? Let's save and see if it goes now. It disappears from here. Deployment complete. Well, let's see here. How many do we have for this process? Yeah, so see, it went out, right? So now this is the other guy. This is the step number 7, production. In production, we did say that it is in production, but in production also not set up as a terminal status, right? So let's go fix that as well. Here, and production. So now this in production is a terminal status for us. So let's set up as such. I think we missed, maybe that was missed. That's why we did not, it didn't work the way we expected it to work. So now, yeah, this is the checkbox. We'll check and save and close. Now go here. Let's find our 1380. So now let's change this now, right? Again, once more. So we're forcing it to kind of take effect with the new one. So now let's see. Is there anything with 1380 anymore? No, it's good. So which means all of the tasks for 1380, if I give 1380 here, so all of them are right here. How many of them are there here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All of the steps, right? And now, since we mark all the tasks as completed, it should actually show up here. There you go. See, now it is coming over here because if I go and check in work in progress, it's not going to be there because it's here already, right? Because the status is changed. And see that status is closed. So for this process, this setup is the closed is set up as the terminal status. So the system is gonna mark it by itself. All the underlying tasks are marked completed. So our process is marked completed by the system itself. And your dashboard for the work in progress process, for example, is clean. It's not gonna, hold on to that right now here, right? Whatever you're seeing is other ones now here, but that one is gone. That one's gone over here, right? So now, the workflow, like I said before earlier, right, could be an independent system. So you could mark it here, keep it as a separate system, and then use your software to do what you're doing. But then this software does have the option to design a workflow-based system, your business processes, right? Since it's a no-code system, you could add all kinds of fields. And also there is a low-code aspect that we talked about before, where you could add buttons and you could actually code for the APIs yourself. And that way it becomes a fully, functional, full-fledged business process management system, right? And you could use it. You could pretty much design any processes for any business, pretty much, right? Using this low code, no code, system. So, all right, folks, that's it for now. Talk to you next time. Have a good one.